Roots run deep like ancient trees. Blood of kings flows in our seas. Stories told through time and pain. We rise again, we break the chain.
This is the Global Black Excellence Podcast. My name is Dr. Tamsam Ngangube, and this is the Global Black Excellence Podcast. Born in Zimbabwe and having lived and studied across Africa, Australia, the Middle East, the Caribbean, and America, I've seen firsthand that black excellence is global. This podcast brings that energy together, celebrating hidden giants, elevating our stories, and empowering a movement of pride, visibility, and unstoppable black brilliance. So join me as I sit down with extraordinary change makers, redefining success across every field, from business, leadership, creativity, community impact, education, and innovation. Today we are joined by an inspiring guest, Vuyiswa Dube. Vuyiswa Dube is a chartered engineer with experience in gold mining, petrochemical refining, wastewater treatment, and technical training. Her research interests are in advanced water treatment technologies, crystallization processes, and resource recovery from hydrometallurgical streams. She played a key role in South Africa's presidential War on Leaks program, training teams to reduce water losses, and now works as a technical advisor for wastewater treatment at Water Corporation in Australia, supporting regional sites with sustainable process solutions. Vuyiswa holds a PhD in chemical engineering from National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe and a master's from the University of Cape Town. She is recognized as a top 200 young scientist across BRICS, which was in 2023. She is also a published author and an active volunteer with the Australian Water Association. Beyond engineering, she is a trained lay counsellor and founder of Widows Support Club. She is passionate about mental health, healing, and women's empowerment. Welcome, Vuyiswa, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Tammy.
Yeah.
It's such an honor to be here and to recognize the work that we've been doing.
No, thank you very much. And, looking at your profile, you seem not only to be engineering oriented, you have a lot of things which has to do with, mental health, women's support and stuff like that. So it's really inspiring, and I'm looking forward to sort of explore more on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as a starting point, I just want to understand where you grew up and your background as a person.
Now that's very interesting. So I turned 42 years old last Sunday.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Such a milestone, isn't it?
It is such a milestone, and a great one too. So I got to hear the story of how I got to be.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that they will call a miracle child back home in Africa.
Okay.
So I came when my parents had given up of ever having a child or conceiving. Had been confirmed by gynecologists and
so
doctors.
you are the first child.
Yes, I'm a firstborn.
Okay.
So they named me Vuyiswa, which is a closer South African name to celebrate the joy and the happiness they felt when I was born.
Amazing. So a miracle child, and looking at your profile and things that you have done, I think it shows really the miracle part. Yes. So how many are you? So there were other children after you, so you sort of the miracle then opened doors for more
I
kids.
think I was the hope for the family. So I have two siblings. They are both here in Australia.
Okay.
So that's really, I think, a great testament for my mom.
Yeah.
Especially coming from a point where she had lost hope of ever holding a child in her hands.
That's amazing. And tell me how that kind of hope, which you call yourself hope, it seems as if you have really internalized that. And probably it's part of your story. You sort of took that hope from your mom, and you understood how important you are to your family, and being the first child after they've struggled so much. How does that influence, your path or the way you do things?
So as a firstborn, I think you have a responsibility early on to look after your siblings, and there's a lot of expectations of how you conduct yourself, being exemplary as well to your siblings and everyone else. So my mother comes from a family of a very prestigious man. My grandfather was a headmaster during the Rhodesian era. He got his qualifications from South Africa, and that was in the 1960s or so. Apparently
Which was very hard at that time, a
Yeah.
black man being educated up to a point of headmaster.
My great-grandfather must have been really smart.
Yes.
Apparently in the 1960s he had a farm.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of interaction with white people. I
Okay.
think that's what encouraged him then to take my grandfather to South Africa to do his studies. So when my mother was born, she became the hope. She was the only girl at the time. She became the hope of the family to
Okay.
carry that legacy. So when I was born, there was that. I've lost it.
Yeah.
So when I was born,
Yeah.
my mother had been brought up in an environment where education was very important.
Yeah.
She often said that the father used to say that the first husband that you should have as a girl must be your educational qualification or your certificate, and that's the only way you can make sure that you sustain your life and you can feed your children without begging anyone.
Yeah.
So when I was born, my mother wanted to have children that she could instill that kind of excellency and that kind of success into the future. So yes, I think that's what has driven me, or that's how I've received all the support from my family to come and be this far.
Okay, so the values that have been instilled by your mother, you know, you feel like those values are the ones really which have been a driving force to whatever you have done so far.
Yes, she has continued to be very supportive of everything that I'm doing, encouraging me to take up spaces, engineering spaces. Firstly, when we were growing up, doing sciences was quite an achievement, if you remember. So she pushed us to go to good schools as well, you know, find private tutors if we needed to, just to make sure that we are well placed to be part of the bigger groups, or to engage in all those big opportunities that no one has ever explored as Black people. So she's really been instrumental with regards to that, supporting us to get to that level.
Yeah. So I guess as a girl child, we're talking about, you know, 40 years ago, as a girl child who then orients towards engineering, you know, I would think you always oriented towards mathematics and science from a young age. I would say primary school. And how was it like as a girl child being oriented to those kind of subjects, which traditionally are sort of, you know that traditionally sort of a male-dominated areas? And
I didn't feel that. I went to St. James High School, which is a girls' school, so
so
we didn't feel the male dominancy on us at the time. Although the school was very big on achieving and pushing us to be the best versions of ourselves. It was highly competitive, you know, getting to those science classes, and it would just be a handful of you. So the competition was just amongst the girls. So we never actually understood what it meant stepping outside that era, like what it would mean being in competition with boys. You know, we never thought about it.
Because of the environment that has been created for you. Because I think in my case, when I was in high school, I think the other physics, of course, I did biology. Unfortunately,
unfortunately, I also did biology.
But I think nevertheless, there were few girls. I think the physics class had only one girl, especially. So I think that you could. So you did high school, that St. James. You did up to A level.
Yes, I did 6 years at St. James, so up to A level. For my A level, I did chemistry, biology, and mathematics. There are 3 subjects, right?
Yeah, there were 3 subjects.
Yes, and during that time, we didn't have role models of science people who have made it, you know, beyond high school, university, and all that. We were only exposed to teachers, nurses, doctors was what everyone hoped to be, medical doctors. But beyond that, I never had the opportunity to meet anyone who was an engineer, scientist, and all those things. It's things that we were reading in books as people who had broken barriers, you know, founded things and all that. But we're not more drawn to that. We're
Yeah.
just drawn to the excellence of being associated with the brilliance of doing sciences.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
that's very right. So, where you just want to pass. That's your
Yes.
target, is to get good results, and what happens after you sort of what do you think is the importance of mentorship? Any difference that mentorship could have done at that particular moment in terms of guiding or inspiration?
Yeah, I think mentorship, now that I am here,
Yeah.
I'm learning it's very important.
Yeah.
It was a driver for me, by
Yeah.
the way, to get this far. You have people who've walked the path before you. They understand the mistakes.
Yeah.
So having a mentor, it prevents you from making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
It opens your mind to wider and bigger things that you
Yeah.
can still achieve.
Yeah.
Because without a mentor, you're only limited to whatever you're exposed to,
Yeah.
whatever that is. So if
Yeah.
you're in a circumstance or environment where you only exposed to what you're reading theoretically,
Yeah.
but navigating the workplaces and the other career opportunities
Yeah.
that you could have, without a mentor, you're not able to achieve that.
Yeah.
If we had mentors, I think it wouldn't have taken us this long to achieve what we have right now. Probably, I know for sure, I had people that I went to university with. They already came from very well established families where their fathers were executives in engineering spaces. By the time we started the first year, they were already volunteering to be doing practicals during school holidays. And for me, school holidays was like going home, sleep, and look after the kids. And that was my environment. I wasn't exposed to that. So by the time we got to fourth year, they'd already had a level of experience that could give them an advantage in terms of finding other jobs. They've done other courses that complement the engineering, things like that. So I think that if we had that as well, we could have explored other opportunities.
I think also you're right, because there are some people who are driven. There are some people who need to see examples to be inspired. So, we could be looking at selection bias here, whereby you've got people who didn't make it because they didn't see the examples. At the moment we are talking to you, we have managed to, through lack of that mentorship, but because we've got we are internally driven, we are able to make it. So I think there are those people whom we lost along the way, who could have benefited. And also, like you're saying, sometimes the path becomes very long, while sometimes things can be very straight. And also they become your advocates, those people, and they are able to open doors and link you to other people in certain areas that you could, as a student, you can't. Okay. So what are the challenges which you experienced as an A-level student at St. James there when we were studying? What were the key things that you think, as a student,
at St. James?
Yeah.
So I had spent my primary school years in rural areas. I did my primary at Spepa. That's in Cholocho, in Matebele. You know where that is, right?
Definitely.
So I did 2 years. My mother used to be a nurse at Spepa Hospital. And I lived there. And the last part of my primary school, I was in St. Joseph's, which is in KZ district in Matebele South. So I had that rural background exposure, more or less. And on holidays from St. James, I'll still go back to Spepa. And St. James was quite an elite school. It was a selection of top students, top performers from good backgrounds as well. Children who came from boarding schools, who had learned to be independent, who had been exposed to different life advantages, if I'll put it that way. So for me, St. James was a good place to be based on what we wanted to achieve, setting me up for a beautiful career. But it was challenging. Like people would group together because of a familiar artist song or a TV program that I've watched. And I was coming from a background where we didn't have TV. We only had a small radio, and all that we could listen to was Ezomkito.
So you can't, there's nothing in common that much to spend talking with other students.
There was nothing in common. And from my background, we didn't even understand what I needed to have is supporting resources for me to be in that boarding school.
Yeah.
So you'll have kids coming. It was my first time seeing things like cornflakes,
That's it. Yeah.
roll on,
Yeah.
and all this. So my whole trunk will be having just the base, small things,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
and everyone had all the other things that nice and good to have, supportive of they being in a boarding setup. So that was quite challenging
Yes.
because it was difficult to connect
Yeah.
with them. There was nothing that brought us together. You could not be part of the celebration because you don't know the lyrics.
Yes. That transition is hard.
It's
very
hard.
hard. Yeah.
And I couldn't match it in any way because every holiday, I'll still go back to my rural setup where you see donkeys, you see the struggles of people with healthcare issues, water crises, and all that. So that was my reality. So I had to adapt very quickly and focus on what was important, which was
So you diverted your energy to school. You sort of said, no, I don't know the lyrics, but I know my maths. So.
I know my maths, and so I'll find comfort in spending more time doing my schoolwork. But it was a driver in such a way that I now could see that it was a possibility to live a certain type of life. And it was within reach because here I am amongst all these people who have normalized it as well. So that kept me going, I must say.
So the rural background, because I relate very much with what you are saying, because even myself, like I left rural areas when I was in grade 5, grade 6, and went to town, and that struggle, yes, you can't relate. To people talk about certain types of cartoons,
and you're like, what is that?
And you're like, what, But I think what it does then, it drives you towards education. It drives towards So that rural background. What do you think? How that rural background has influenced you, like in terms of your academic side.
For me, it was a humbling experience, I must say, in many ways. So SPEPA was more rural and the background was more poor compared to St. Joseph's. So St. Joseph's is Wastewater South, and most of the households at least had one or two other people from South Africa. So they were
in Jiva.
Yes, in Jiva. So they were quite advantaged. The children were flourishing in a way. But SPEPA for me was a place where I would go with my lunchbox every day, with my juice bottle and all this, and kids would be laughing at me and making fun or taking your food and things like this, and that was a bit, I think, traumatic, but to an extent it made me appreciate what I had compared to the Machiavellian South experience. I was the poor one in that space. So, but the skills that I obtained during that time, I think they humbled me. They made me tap into perfecting my excellency in academics in a way. So I tapped everything that I learned from my grandfather living in his household of what excellency was. Simple things as in reading the newspaper, identifying one or two words that I knew and making sure that you use those words in a composition, in the week.
Those small things.
Those small things. So I found then when I was in those spaces, that's what kept the drive. So, and then that brought the attention of the teachers. Like, there's this child who's intelligent. Let's test her, high level exams. So that I'll be like in grade 4 and they give me exams for grade 6 or grade. And I'll just ace it all. So that kept me grounded in sense of excelling and doing more and focusing more on that, and realizing that I don't want to have or be in this space where you're disadvantaged in the rural areas and all that. So that has driven me and pushed me, I think, to look for more and want to be better. Yeah.
So leaving from St. James, going to university, how does that look like?
That was another challenge. So university for me was completely different.
Yeah.
I wanted to do computer sciences.
Okay.
It was my first choice, and I think environmental science and radiography was my third option. But on submission, at that time we're doing paper-based submissions, and the register officer was like, "We can't accept your application. You need to put a fourth option here." And I'm like, I can't think of anything right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, "What did you do?" And I said, "I did chemistry, biology and maths." And she's like, "Oh, put chemical engineering there." Anyway, they won't get to that preference. I mean, the chances that you get that as an option are
very low.
Are very slim. So I put in the application. A few months later, everyone else gets their acceptance letter, and they're supposed to be starting university. And I didn't get any. I had not received any response. I followed that up, and they told me they've not received my application. It was not in the list of accepted, list of rejected.
It's not there.
It's not there. It's like I didn't apply. Imagine trying to explain this to your parents who've been investing in you.
and also we're talking about parents who value education.
Yes,
it's not just
who value
parent
education,
there. And they're looking forward to you going to uni,
to your success.
And,
and they're also trying to beat the bias, the communal expressions about taking a girl child to school. Oh, this one is not going to get there. She'll get pregnant, she'll get married. All this. And then you're here now, having been entrusted to reach that level of going to university, and you don't have your application. So you come across as either you're a child who's lying, your commitment. It was very devastating time for me. So the university recommends that I put in a new application for consideration in the next intake. I think that was going to be like 6 months later or something like this. So I went back to temporal teaching, and then.
And how does it feel? How does it feel, going back to temporary teaching just because of this mishap with university application?
It was hard for me because how is this possible? How is this happening to me?
Yes.
I'm not the child. I've never been that person who would be considered to be taking a gap year.
Yes.
That time gap year was like for special cases, if I'll put it that way.
And I think most of those people used to take gap, they never go back to school.
No.
and I think also you're talking about the expectation from the community that this is a girl child who's going to get pregnant, is going to so that thing puts pressure even more to you and your family to say, what, gap year, is he gonna survive the gap year?
They wouldn't have believed that I was taking a gap year. Probably they would have thought, oh, they said she passed, but actually she didn't make it. She didn't qualify to university. Okay. So there was that devastation overall, and it was really painful for me. I think it's that time where you realize you don't know what your future holds. You don't know where you're going, what could transpire out of this. All that I had was being a temporary teacher at that point, and getting paid, of course, but it's not what I'd hoped for in my life, So, time passed, and I think 4 weeks after the lectures had started, I got a call from the registrar, and it was like, "Oh, we finally located your application, Ms. Dube." That was quite a relief.
After 4 weeks,
after 4 weeks, people had started lectures, and he's like, "Unfortunately, we're not able to place you in any of your first 3 options, but we have an opening in the chemical engineering class. They've already advanced, but if you're willing, we're happy for you to join next week." So we were in a dilemma. My mother was like, "Yes, girl.
Let's get going.
Let's get going. We'll figure it out, whatever it takes. This is an opportunity that we cannot miss, that you cannot miss." So I was happy to do that. But I had a different impression of what chemical engineering is. Wow. I'd never heard of it, actually, I think, to be very honest. I thought chemistry, I'm good in chemistry, so this should be easy.
It's similar.
That's what I thought at that time. Like, it's got chemistry. I'll be fine because I used to excel in chemistry. So the first year for me, I was trying to get to your question. The first year at uni was very difficult for me. I had to navigate commuting from home because I'd been a boarder for 6 years. commuting.
So
from
now
home in the
now
city.
in Bulawayo.
Now I'm in
Is your
Bulawayo.
mother also now in Bulawayo from Spectre?
At this point, she's still at Paper,
Okay.
but
But they're staying with other family
we'd
members.
migrated to Bulawayo, the
Okay.
whole family.
Okay.
So I had to learn to commute from Country Park. So to get to Nast, you had to take.
That's almost an hour, isn't it? Hour
Yeah,
or maybe
or more even.
More,
Sometimes it was more. You had to take a train, drop off 13th Avenue, take another walk, 15-20 minutes walk to City Hall to catch the Nast taxis. I think there were 1 or 2 taxis, so you wait for the taxi to go and come back. So it was that busy hour. So what happened to me the first year is I missed all the morning lectures. I think
because
the
you
first
are
2
arriving
lectures,
late.
I was always arriving late.
I guess the train is also not that reliable, isn't it?
No, it was not reliable. We only had 2 trains. I think the 6 o'clock past 6 and the 7 o'clock one. So if I took the 7 o'clock, I would definitely be late, regardless. I don't remember how long it took from Country Park to town, but quite a few minutes, 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes. So I was always late. I missed all those classes. And that also meant that I had to miss the afternoon classes because I had to
get back home early.
Get back, yes. So for me, that was difficult to navigate. I didn't feel like I had total control of my studies as I had previously. And my class had over 90% of people who were speaking Shona as well. So it was only like a handful, 5 of us were speaking Ndebele. So there was that language barrier as well in terms of forming, connections and people to work in assignments and things like this. So that was very, very challenging to me. So I'm already 4 weeks behind. I'm navigating home to school. I'm trying to connect with my classmates, and it's just not working. And I'm trying to understand, what is this engineering? First year, I think all the courses, they've got nothing to do, not so much, it's like calculations.
Yeah, it's like the foundations.
It's like the foundation. So it wasn't really giving you a clear, picture of what the degree was about or what was the expectation in terms of your role as an engineer.
Yeah.
So that went on for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. I was still just going by. At that time as well, in the libraries, we didn't have a lot of engineering textbooks. Like you'll have one Richardson and Coulson textbook for all the classes across the 5 years, So we didn't have enough resources. You would rely on all the lectures notes and things like that. And so not having that time to do group work with people and, get on with what needs to happen in your learning space, it was very challenging, I think, for me a lot. I only started understanding what engineering was when I went for my industrial attachment, which
that is year 3.
That's year 4. Year 4, yeah. So it melted my heart instantly, and that was Frida Mine in Gwanda. It's a gold mining and processing plant. It was my first time seeing that, all the tailing stands and all the stamp mills, seeing the gold, like it's an ore, and next thing you see the nuggets, the gold nuggets. And they were also supporting a community of small scale miners.
Yeah.
So the vibe in general, it was quite great. People celebrating, finding money and making money and progressing, through the milling process. So for me, that's when everything made sense.
That's what I'm doing.
And my transcript can confirm that, by the way.
So you sort of had a trajectory where you started low and started to improve.
So my first 3 years, my overall was like a 2.2, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But after my industrial attachment, I got an overall of a distinction. So I like distinctions, I think, in 3/4 of the subjects that we did in my 5th year, including the research projects. So I wish we had done it earlier. I wish that I had been exposed to a level of understanding of what engineering could have been And
which I think is too late for someone to start understanding what they're doing in fourth year. Probably you need attachment much earlier, or you need industrial kind of internships much
yes,
earlier.
I think it's more ideal first year,
Yeah.
like maybe second semester, you have a short
Yeah.
internship
Or
or
even
you have
visits,
experience.
go visit,
Yes, or even
visit
visits.
Delta, visit the gold mine
Yeah.
and meet. And I think it comes back to what we discussed around mentorship. Because if you had someone who is a chemical engineer already, who is in industry, you have an
Yeah.
opportunity to ask, or even to bring that person in the classroom,
Yes.
and have a chat with the students. I think it makes a difference, because then it inspires them and it creates those connections. So yeah.
Definitely. I saw that happening a lot in Cape Town.
Yeah.
They will bring in people
In
from
UCT.
industry in
Yeah.
UCT,
Yeah.
and they'll have conversations and they'll share some of the projects that they do. So they had an understanding, maybe let's say when you're looking at a certain topic, maybe in energy, then you invite someone from energy, around
Yeah.
about the same time. So you can clearly connect the two. What you're learning is fundamentals to what this could give you as an individual, as an engineer, as well as understand the processes, from that simple talk. So I think that should have happened. It probably did happen for other people. I don't know. Because when we finished on our final year, some of my classmates, they'd already enrolled for their masters outside the country.
Okay.
So I'm assuming they must have had some level of mentorship or exposure to the possibilities
Which
beyond
then
that.
comes with, it depends with the background. So if someone is a father and uncle is a chemical engineer, already understand where they're going to.
Yes.
You chemical engineer, you're just told to put it as a fourth option. So you just saw chemical, then you thought chemistry.
We're mixing chemicals.
You understand? So I think very similar experience with me in terms of choosing chemical engineering is because I had someone talking about the uncle.
Who wasn't chemical engineer?
Yeah, then I was like,
doing well, I guess.
Yeah, doing well. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll try it. So, and also with chemistry, like I was saying, it's very similar to chemistry, so that makes sense, yeah. Okay, so now you understand what chemical engineering is, and you sort of, you've understood, you've worked in a gold mine, and what's your thought now, in terms of your career moving forward, when you're close to graduation, probably then you graduate?
Well, I think I was very excited, ecstatic, if I put it that way. I could connect and envision what I could be. I actually thought that I was going to work in a mine, after school. For some reason, it didn't happen.
Yeah, because we are a mining country. I think chemical engineering and metallurgy, people tend to think around mining,
Yeah. It was a great opportunity for me and very inspiring. I was charged, literally.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to what was coming after the graduation.
Yeah.
And I was still in Blawayo at the time. But Blawayo doesn't have a lot of engineering companies as well. So that was a challenge. I think I only got my opportunity to be a graduate trainee after almost 2 years.
Okay. So you waited again 2 years, sort of instructed to get a graduate. So not
for a job.
searching, not waiting. So you were searching.
I was looking for opportunities, but I think so many companies were going through a lot of difficulties and they were closing down during that time.
Yeah.
That's when the Zimbabwe economy was plunging down pretty much. So that was not working to my advantage.
What were you feeling during those 2 years, having a degree and sort of not getting anything?
I think it was devastating, to say the least, because again, you are afraid to be a failure.
Yeah.
You're afraid to fall into options of eventually just settling for marriage and just being like any other woman, and you will have people say to your face, oh, I know so and so who was a chemical engineer and now they're working in a petrol stationed
Station,
somewhere,
yeah.
and they'll be telling my mother this, and she'll be coming. She's like, "Hey, I'm not sure whether I actually made the right choice with this."
Yeah, you start
degree."
doubting
You
yourself.
start doubting yourself, and all that you've experienced doing the attachment. It just now seems like a far-fetched dream. So that was really traumatic, and I couldn't work anywhere else. At that time, I didn't want to work anywhere else, just in case I preoccupy myself and
you
get
you
distracted.
end up distracted. You're afraid of ending up doing something that really is not aligned to you and sticking to it.
Yes. So that was really not a good space to be in. So I tried. I even went to Botswana during that time to look for opportunities in diamond processing, salt companies and all this. And I'll put my CV, apply, distribute. Met some people who connected me to some of the guys who were working in some of those companies, and I'll give them my CV. My mother was, helpful, posting and doing all these things. And we still were hopeful. But nothing materialized out of all that somehow. I got, I think, a job at Gold Star Sugar Refinery eventually at some point. And then I was like, oh, thank God, this is
As a what?
As a process engineer,
Intern.
chemical process.
Was it an intern or?
It was a graduate traineeship.
It was a graduate traineeship.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was excited and did the interview, and I was waiting to get a call to set up to do the medicals. It was Thursday, and I was supposed to start on like a Monday, the following Monday. I didn't get that call, so it didn't come. And I'm calling now. It's on Friday, and I'm calling. I'm like, you had, I'm expecting this call. Set up an appointment for the doctor, things like this. And they're like, oh, let me transfer you to, I think, the process engineer or production manager, someone who was in charge of that department. And like, oh, Mr. We're so sorry to let you know that we decided to hold that position till further notice. It was early in the morning. I was excited. I'd already picked my outfits for work, And so that was really devastating. I went to bed, like, it was a very hot day. I remember very well. I went to bed and I cried myself to sleep. My mother was in Botswana at that time, and I just had my nanny, my granny, and I don't think she understood what was going on.
What was going on?
For me, it was like, I just got this opportunity, and and here we are starting afresh, going through all this again, application. What's going to happen to me? And then I was woken up by another call around 12 midday.
The same day?
Same day.
Yeah.
And this was CPEng. Hi, ma'am, we're inviting you to come for an interview on Monday for a graduate traineeship at CPEng. I'm like, what? Where is that? You put in so many applications that you lose track of.
You lose track.
In some cases, it's like, there's an email, just apply here, and you just keep applying.
You just keep on applying.
Putting yourself out there. It doesn't matter anymore whether it's something that you're passionate about, it's something that
but what gave you the resilience and the resilience of keep on pushing? Because 2 years is a long time, eh?
Yes.
For you to be still doing the same thing. Because some people, they give up, they end up, there are some people who graduated chemical engineers, especially with the economic meltdown of Zimbabwe. Some people never really worked in those areas because at some point they gave up.
My mother was very supportive. She was working in Botswana, and she said, you don't have to work to support the family. I'm here to do that. So that took away a lot of pressure as to go out there.
You just focused on yourself.
So it was focusing on getting yourself aligned in the right career path. That's what was important. So I think that was very helpful for me and for us in general. And I had my siblings, they were much younger than me. So having someone at home to look after things while she was in Botswana, it kind of like was a win as well. I would say that. So, and then during that time as well, I think that's when I decided to commit myself to being a Christian. So there was also that, that newly found being born again, you're so hopeful, you've got faith, and
Yeah.
so I was very hopeful. I'd not given hope as such, and I kept working on whatever opportunities that were coming forward.
So you got the ZimChem one.
Yes, I got the CPEng placement for graduate traineeship.
Okay.
And that was also a story, but I think for another day.
How does then that ZimChem opportunity opens the rest of your story? Like how does the masters come in? Masters of going to UCT.
So ZimChem was a full experience of working in a male-dominated area for me. I was the only lady in a production group of 45 other men, old men, old enough to be my father, even older at that time. Yeah. And I was very tiny, like I was very small, like a size 4, 46 kgs kind of a girl, small. So people will look at you and think, oh,
what are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know?
We know everything.
We know everything. Yeah. And you're coming in here with a degree as well.
Yeah.
Most of the people that are in the production line, they've just there because of the experience.
Many, 20, 30 years, yes, 40 years.
40 years of experience. Kind of but they don't have any supporting qualifications in terms of process. There was City and Guilds at the time, I think, something like that. City and Guilds operations.
Or training certificate.
Yeah, that's the best that you could have as an operator. But most of the supervisors, they were not really qualified. So you were, I would say, you're probably like a threat, and you are such a small threat physically.
Yeah, but from a qualification perspective, they understood your potential, isn't it?
Yes, probably that's what caused a lot of issues as well. Yeah. So if you're this highly qualified, people will be worried that you will overshadow them, take away their jobs. You're in a space where you're looking at cost savings, driving efficiency in the process and things like this. And some of the things is nipping on things that people normalize doing and which are not really good for the business at some point. So now because you are aware of these things, you keep highlighting them and they feel like now they can't really be free to navigate their own operation space without you. So that was a challenge, a very big challenge. And you will have a lot of workload because people want you to prove, like they want to put you in a space where you're failing, you're complaining, or you're not making it. So you find you have to work harder, you have to show and prove that you are qualified and competent and capable as well. So that was ZimChem for me.
In what form does those things come? Like what form do they sort of show you or sort of make it uncomfortable? They minimize you, or they vocalize, or they what?
They minimize the work that you would have done.
Yeah.
So you do work or you do projects, you do assessments. They get you to do it, so spend time doing it, and then they just shelve that away. Like as soon as you get it done, someone just shoves that away. So it's not really important, it's not urgent. But when you get the work, it's like, this needs to be done. We need this understanding of this process.
So you feel useless, you feel like you are not contributing anything.
You're not really contributing something that is valuable.
Yeah.
And you will also have people vocalizing, like, we know this. Those words are painful. Yeah. We've been here, we've been doing this long enough. We've always done things this way.
Yeah.
And that time, I think the production line, we had also paper-based, like how we capture statistics and all this. It was all on paper. So when we came in, we'll be asked to do like a review of production statistics for the past 10 years. So you're going through...
quite interesting, in terms of experience in ZimChem. I want to understand, for example, as a mother, and as a wife, in that kind of environment, what was, going through your mind in terms of a lot of things happening at work, and you've got other things happening at home, you've got a child and things like that. It's quite a lot,
It is.
Yeah.
I agree, it is a lot. It's something different to navigate.
Yeah.
Something a bit unique also for our society to understand.
Yeah.
So a woman is prepared to to play their part in the home,
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
So there are certain societal expectations that you need to fulfill as a mother as well as a wife. So that was my case at that time. I couldn't be part of much of what my family needed to do because I had a job that I needed to keep. You know, I was just a graduate trainee, so I still needed to work myself out. You know, to confirm and get a permanent position at some point. So motherhood was very challenging, you know, waking up and leaving your small child with someone else. And I'd also gotten a nanny who was much older than me. That my first experience of a nanny. She was 35 and I was maybe 28 or something like this.
And you have to give instructions.
You have to give instructions. Sometimes I'll get home and try to, you know, prepare as much as possible so that she just takes care of the child, looks after the child. But she was good, she was independent. So I think she also understood the role that she was playing in our lives. So she completely filled that gap. She would do the laundry, she would look after the child, go in extra mile to assist. But for me, it was a moment of realizing that I'm failing maybe as a mother.
You're failing what you call from a traditional setup, you know, mother responsibilities of your home, you know, expectations with the culture is, you know, you have to cook, you have to clean, take care of your child, and you find yourself here at work all the time.
And even if I was at home, which was on weekends, I'm always on my phone trying to organize or, you know, put together the logistics of the plant, because you never really switch off, you know, when you have a plant that is running 24/7. So for me, that was really challenging. And I don't know whether I understand what my husband could have been going through at that time. But I know that he was showing up in family functions without me. And obviously, you know what that means.
I guess it was quite hard also for him.
Yes, it must have been we'd and like, we're doing this and this, and everyone else had their own partner, and you know, I found myself in this position, and then people start thinking, oh, maybe she's not interested in doing. And also, I married into the Kalanga family, so they are very strict on what a Makoti should do and should, you know, represent, in short. So that was really challenging, I think, for me. So I made the decision that I need to find another way if I still want to keep my home and my job at the same time. I need to find ways in which I can integrate all this in my life, but make it easy somehow and still be supportive in the home.
How long did that job take, like as an intern for you?
It was 3 years in total, and that's because I also took some maternity leave during that period. I got pregnant and took some time off to have a baby. So that stretched a bit. But after that, I think after the 3 years, I was ready. I was already, you know, as you finish graduate traineeship, I think the last few months, almost a year, you start actively acting in the role. The role was vacant at the time, so meaning you were doing more than just being training in the position.
That's it. The cheaper way of getting work done.
That's true, I guess. So it was beneficial for the company. So negotiating your way into a permanent position was also tricky because people would have their own expectation of what you should be doing. That should ensure that you tick those boxes. So they keep pushing you and pushing you. But I was already at a position of responsibility. You know, you do all the budgets. Budgets were quite an interesting part of the production.
It means you know, because budgets really, they are not for interns. So I can understand the amount of work that you're carrying. You know, budgets are more up there, you know, for senior people.
You spend 3 months doing budgets and negotiating the budgets. And I think the most satisfying thing was when we presented our last budget after a lot of back and forth. When our CEO then came to me, I was like, I think now you're ready to be an engineer. And it was around 2 a.m. when we did the last time we did our presentations for budget. So I felt so good. But what that meant is part of this job is doing a lot of things like continuously, like consistent steps, to grow and perfect your skills. So for me, it was presentation of all the data, checking with the suppliers, presenting your forecasts and all the other things, like taking feedback and incorporating that every time, and getting to a point where people are happy with what you're delivering without any questions. It means you've gotten something right. You've filled in all the gaps, and all your other work you've considered strengthening some of your weaknesses, and you become a better person. And so there's a lot of that. So sometimes people look at you and they're not happy, not because you're not doing enough, or you're not good enough, but where they envision or seeing beyond your capabilities, they can push you to your maximum. And it's something that you can either lean into, or break and just move aside. So I think that period for me from ZimCam, it taught me to lean in. So you can cry, complain, and do whatever, but wake up tomorrow like, okay, I'm going to get this right this time again. And I'm going to show up.
So about that resilience.
Yes.
Okay, then when do you then decide that you want to go to Cape Town, or you want to leave ZimCam?
Well, I think I was looking for opportunities that will create ease for me as a mother, and also be able to contribute as a chemical engineer. So I considered doing lecturing at some point in life, hoping that will give me a bit of a break to be with family, on holidays, or it's flexible enough. So I applied, got opportunities to apply to South Africa. And I applied to several, I think about 10 of them, 10 research units, as well as universities in Australia. The UCT was
in
top.
South Africa.
Yes, South Africa, And UCT was top on the list. So day after my application, the very following morning, I received an email from UCT confirming, offering me actually an opportunity to do my master's.
It is an overnight.
It was an overnight response, and it was so impressive. It
outlined like a scam.
It had a title of the project, scholarship offer, with the amount of that scholarship, and just a place to put your signature, to confirm you're receiving and accepting the offer. So everything was so fast for me, and I don't think we put a lot of thought to it. It was such a great offer, a great opportunity, and I couldn't believe it. So I accepted, and we started preparing for me to move to Cape Town.
So you moved to Cape Town. Do you move alone or with the family?
No, I had to move alone because I was not sure how real
this miracle,
this great opportunity was. So, and no one, I didn't know anyone who was in Cape Town to verify some of the issues. So I wasn't confident of what to expect, and so I left my child and I left my husband at home and just packed a bag, overnight bag,
and then went.
My ticket and went to South
So tell me about that experience when you arrived in Cape Town.
Cape Town was beautiful. It was mind-blowing, actually. The university is of global stature, I think. And they just built the chemical engineering building. So that was really nice, and it's positioned at the top of the hill, and you have this beautiful scene of the area around. And the reception was also quite impressive for me. Everyone was just accommodative, made sure that I settled in very quickly, like within a day. I had my bank account, I had some money deposited into my account to ensure that I look for accommodation, or I don't have to struggle. And the research unit also had a few Zimbabweans, so that was quite good for me. Felt at home instantly. And so I enjoyed being in Cape Town. The university in general is very also accommodative of different people with different backgrounds. I think there's some statistics that says for each classroom of 120, there's like 12 to 20 different nationalities.
So it's a multicultural.
It's a multi rainbow society on its own. So that was good to see because it took away a lot of pressure, the pressure of showing up well put together, worrying about your hair, what you're wearing, and things like this.
It's a casual student environment.
Yes, casual student environment, and people were even walking barefoot on campus, and it was a normal sight. So that was really, I think, an awakening time for me. Like I had to relearn a lot of things.
Even the approach to student life and stuff. It is quite different. Like in same and stuff.
And I lived in a share house and with a few Indians, and I learned, how we're growing up, we learn how to chop and cut and dice to even size everything. And this Indian friend of mine had an axe. So he would chop the cabbage into
using big
just a small kitchen axe. I didn't know that. And you'd be like making a vegetable stir fry, and you would just chop everything randomly. And the food was still nice, and we enjoyed that.
So
like,
that kind of a different perspective.
Yes, that was different perspective altogether. Learning about different foods, herbs, and things that we were not exposed to back home. So Cape Town was a real learning opportunity for me, and even in terms of research. Research is well funded, and you're given that opportunity to explore different avenues, and learn and adapt and gain a lot of skills. For my project, we could do imaging. My second supervisor with physics background. So we did imaging and tried to process that through MATLABs and things like this. And you also get to be a teaching assistant. So for me, that was the most interesting part. So the teaching assistants allowed you not only to mentor other students, they allowed you to attend the classes. So for me, remember back then, there were some core courses that while I was still navigating my transition.
You probably missed, you still wanted, probably not understood them better. And teachers are different. Some explain things much better than others. Or sometimes you forget. So that's good.
So for me, that was one of the best experiences. I took as many as I could, and I tried to attend as much of the lessons as possible and engage actively. And I felt like I was reliving my uni days, and that was really good. So that's one thing that I think is impressive about postgraduate offers at UCT.
Tell me then about your family now. Family coming in. Did your family come in South Africa later? And tell me about that whole experience in South Africa from graduation in Cape Town, or before graduation in Cape Town. Some of the challenges that we faced.
My husband was not going to wait until graduation to join me. So I think he joined me the first year. The first year I was at UCT, he joined me, and we stayed together until I finished my master's and graduated, and that's when we took our baby.
That's when you took our baby there. And then to start working in South Africa. What were the next steps after graduating for you?
So after graduating, you have to navigate getting a critical skills permit because you would have been on a student visa, and that doesn't allow you to do any work, outside university. So I had to get a critical skills, and initially it was just one year, I think. Managed to get into a project. It was a presidential project on war on lakes. So they're looking for engineers, environmentalists to come together and help mitigate water and wastewater related issues. And I jumped onto that offer. I actually got a call as well. I was busy washing blankets at home. When I got a call, I'm like, there's a position. We're looking for someone, to be based in Langsbeck. Langsbeck is about 260 km from Cape Town. Could you be there tomorrow morning? I'm like, what? That's not possible. How do I get there and all this? But that was the beginning of a very beautiful experience for me. So I worked on that project, training water agents, fitters, electricians, and practitioners on how to manage operations to improve and minimize losses, on reticulation systems and things like this. So it was a two-component program. You could do the theoretical part in class, and then the last 18 months was practical, where you go on and look at these things in the plant, the municipality plants. Yeah.
Okay. And then how long was that? And did you stay and work more in South Africa? What are the things that you did in South Africa?
So that went on for about 3 years, and then I continued beyond that into that space because now I kind of like earned a reputation amongst people as a great person to go to when it comes to operations, trainings, and the success in general of the project. So I was part of several other projects. But my biggest challenge came when I had to renew my visa. So that was just, So you find you can't get a permanent job because people are worried you don't have
visa.
You don't have visa for it, And most of the adverts that were coming out, they'll be requiring someone who's also permanent resident.
That's it. Quite
challenging. That was very tricky and very difficult for us because that meant you're not settled at any given time. You either always in between applications, waiting for outcomes, which would come sometimes years delay, So you're always in between that space. And that was really not good for people with families. You want to feel
you want a bit of stability.
The stability, yes. And that was the main thing for us. And before we could realize what we do about the situation and where do we go from here, COVID hit, and everything was on lockdown, and opportunities became scarce. You could only do projects online or whatever else to make money and live by. And but again, later on, people always find ways to take advantage of scenarios like that where you don't have a face-to-face interaction. So I started doing projects, and I'll do one after the other, commit days and nights, and work on it, hoping this will be sustainable for us. But you have people who delay making payments, and you get to a point where you're not able to look after yourself.
Sustain yourself and your family.
So that was a turning point for me. I was like, this can't keep happening, because what it meant was now we had to look ask for assistance from family members. Look, we're in this situation and we need help here and there. And
I can understand, because I think what I've gotten through, our discussion is that we are always used to taking care of others.
Yes.
Of your sisters, but
I'm not used to asking.
It's you who is now asking.
So this is me now asking. And if you've got children, at that time we already had 2 children. You can ask for a loaf of bread today, tomorrow. But then asking for rent to this month and another rent next month, and you can tell that you don't have a plan. The situation is a bit dire for you. So that was very, I think, challenging for all of us. We could only do so much, within our space. So that's when I asked myself the question, what do I have and what can I do about this? And looked at the experience, the qualification, looked at the opportunities. I had 2 options: to do a PhD. At that time, people were doing PhD during the COVID. Do a PhD, get a few
funding, get some few stipend.
At least, cover 1 or 2 things while we wait, because at that time it was not clear how long this lockdown was going to go on for.
And also, in that case, you have visa issues. You don't really understand where you're going.
So I had put in my permanent residence application, but everything was closed, nothing was being processed. So not so sure what things would look like later on. So, but my visa was still valid, but I think I only had a few months before expiring. So we're navigating that now, and I try to to get interviews in for PhD. I couldn't. The reason why I had not done my PhD even after like 5 years is because I couldn't get the right supervisor was aligning with my skills.
Your skills and your research interest.
And I thought for me that was non-negotiable.
Yeah, that's it. Because you can't do something that I'm passionate
about. Yes. I was going to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor of something that I could recognize. So that was very important to me. So I kept, flipping through opportunities and like, no. Until this one time, a friend of mine was my manager actually for the World Leaks project. We'd never met. He just flicks me a message and he says, I think this is something that you'll like. I remember your CV. And that was years back, like last time I'd worked with him, and I never had shown interest, like had a conversation to show interest of PhD or something.
Another miracle stuff.
I'm like, you won't I literally say to him, you will not believe I'm sitting on my desk right now and I have a list of PhD opportunities. I took a picture and showed him, and what you just sent me is saying to me, stop what you're doing.
This is
it, And it's like, I think you'll be amazing for this professor, you guys will work together. And then I'm like, yeah, why not? And then I put in my application. That was UNISA, the professor. It was very impressive, and did the interview, passed the interview, and we got connected instantly. And he asked me to write a proposal, short proposal, I typed the proposal and I sent it to him at midnight. That's how I work. Sent it to him at midnight and I went to take a bath. When I came back, guess what? I got his response. No, I got a response from him with feedback on my proposal.
On the proposal?
Yes, with feedback on the proposals, with suggestions and everything else. And for the longest time, one of my issues is working with people who are not responsive or take time. Or, I hate that dragging and all this. So like from bathing,
they'll be like, this is the right supervisor, this is the right person for me.
And it doesn't just that feedback, comma here. No, like feedback, like someone has read and understood what you've submitted, and they've quickly identified what's missing, and they're giving you the direction of how to, put it together.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I put the feedback in, like instantly at that time, and I sent it to him.
Wow.
And I went to bed. When I woke up at 8 o'clock, I had his approval of the revised document. And I shouted across the room. I'm like, oh my God, love, come and see this, I got the response, that excitement and everything. And like, I think I'd never been so happy in my life in a way. And I'm like, we're doing this. And my husband was like, without doubt, because we've never seen you as happy
as this.
And having someone that it seems like you've got the same energy,
So much supportive.
Yes, like you just are going to, bring out big things will come out of this. So we didn't think. That was end of November. Instantly we closed our lists, our house lists in Cape Town. We started selling everything because we had to be there in January. And then we started looking for a place. That's
Johannesburg.
Yes, Johannesburg. And we had to look for a place to stay in Johannesburg. We started selling everything that we've had or owned for 8 years at that time or so. And everyone was supportive. Like, we've never seen
that's
you.
That's an opportunity. Yeah.
So we packed up. Christmas, everything was packed. New Year's, we drove to Joburg. Like everything else was taken by the removal company. And we drove to Joburg the eve of 2022, is it? Yeah, 2022. And we got there, got the kids settled in. My prof had said, oh, you don't have to worry. Get the kids settled in, and once you are ready, you can start. So let's start in February. No pressure. So I get the kids settled in at school, and I'm happy with everything. And on the 30th of January, I get a call. Could you please come to the university tomorrow? There's some induction COVID research lab, something like that. I'm like, I'm new. Like, what COVID, what lab am I doing, And then we get there, and I got the news that Prof had passed. Yeah. Just imagine. I got the news So the head of department comes
your
to
prof who is going to do research with you has passed.
Yes,
It's
passed.
COVID.
No, it wasn't.
not
It wasn't. It was something else. It wasn't COVID related. But yeah, they gave me the news. And the time I saw the message, I just dropped the kids. I'm like, oh, it's on, because I'd found a place close to the university so that I could just drop the kids and go to the university, something like that. So we were on our way back from dropping the kids when I see a message that I'm being invited for this. So I was still in my slobs, not thinking of anything, thinking it's for a casual kind of a chat.
What comes into your mind during that time?
I didn't believe it. Like when you receive news that you're not expecting. So he comes to me and says, I'm sorry, this is prophets. Actually, it didn't come to me. So there was a group of us because they called it a group. Prof. I think it's people who worked with Prof mostly, or know Prof in some way or the other. So then they gave us a whole pep talk about COVID, and then the last part of it was like, oh, Prof has passed. So to me, I was like, maybe there's another one. Like if you're new in a place.
So you were not thinking it's your particular Prof.
For a moment, I was like, yes. For a moment, I thought it might be someone else.
Because I've been talking to this person over email, so
yes,
so certain.
Yes, and you don't really. I didn't connect at that time, and then so he closes the talk, and then people start chatting, and then I go to him. I'm like, sorry, did you? I was like, oh, nice to meet you. Are you Vuyiswa?
So they already knew about you.
Yes, they already knew about me. Like, Prof has talked a lot about you. Unfortunately, this is the situation, and we don't have anyone who's got the same skill set for the project you wanted to do and all this. But we're happy to have you here, join us for some reason, But there was now, everyone was on that space of talking about what had just happened. So it was the most traumatic time of my life.
And you have changed, from Cape Town.
Yes, we'd relocated. We had sold everything. We'd just gotten there. We didn't know where we were going to get our next meal. We were hoping that this was going to...
So the scholarship has disappeared?
No, the scholarship was still there, but I think the first payment was supposed to be in February, end of February. So we could find ways to sustain ourselves that end of January. But now you're hearing this news, and then you quickly start thinking about your life.
This thing is gone.
Yes, you start thinking about your life. You start thinking about what's the real reason that brought you here. That
why would that person whom I'm supposed to work with,
yes,
pass before I just come? Even before I meet that person.
Before I met him, for me, it was really, really sad. I'll tell you, I grieved for months, I think, until from that time, February, until maybe May. Like I was tearing. I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm just tearing. Like without, subconsciously, I was just tearing.
The pain was just too much.
It was just too much. I could not understand why this was happening, and I could not decide what then to do. You just put kids in a new school, You came all the way because you were excited about this opportunity, this promised successful story, the collaboration with such a powerful someone with such a great reputation, and suddenly feeling like you've lost all those things in one day.
Yeah.
And for me, that was a lot.
So after this experience, then how did that impact your whole UNISA experience? Did you continue to do? Did you change the?
I had no
research?
choice. I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had only few options at that point, almost zero options. I had to look into, other opportunities as much, because I'd read somewhere, when these things happen, you want to find comfort in some way or the other. And I started researching, and the statistics were saying 2 in every 3 people who lost their supervisors, they never complete their research, or they never actually go back to the same field that they were in, like they change completely. That's how traumatic the experience was. So for me, I knew we were being paid monthly.
So that payment kept on coming at least.
So yes, the payment kept on coming, but the condition also was you needed to find
a supervisor.
to be present on campus, during those times. We're not allowed to do extra work.
Yes.
So you had to be there 8 o'clock to 4 or 5 o'clock, only committed to research work. So my second supervisor took me in and we started exploring some options. So within that time, I think that was like April to August, I changed 3 projects, full proposal, from ceramic membranes to adsorbents, and finally to nanocomposite materials.
Was it with different supervisors?
It was the same supervisors.
We were just exploring what was causing.
Yes, because different supervisors have got different backgrounds and interests and all this. So usually the main supervisor has the knowledge and the skills of a particular project, and then they collaborate with someone else who then just bring in 1 or 2 of their skills into the project, but not the core, something like this. So now I had to again lean into what she was mostly interested in for me to benefit. So I had to step down from my own expectations and my own interests of what I had hoped this could be, and find another way of making things work. Whatever was available. At that time, it was like almost whatever is available and can be supported while I was there, So we explored different options, and I think we're trying to find funding as well to support those projects. So we changed quite a few of them. But for me now, I had already started thinking about going abroad, going to Australia.
So when you thinking about going abroad during the PhD, you wanted to leave because basically this thing you have no interest in, it's just now becoming sort of a job.
When you're now doing something, but the pain is so much and so much has happened. You're not sure that this was going to go through.
Thinking it's another thing that is going to come.
You want to do this, but there's a lot of uncertainties, and I think I was going through grief. One of the things that I had to do was to engage a therapist for myself to navigate all these, because I wasn't coping.
I understand.
I wasn't coping. I learned from somewhere, like from people, listening to people and all of these things, that you need to look after yourself. You cannot go on. You cannot expect that grief is going to just disappear like that. You need to work through some things like that. So I got myself a therapist. I got myself a coach, a career coach during that same time, because I needed to be there. Because this is paying the bills.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. It's now like a job, really.
Yes, because it's paying the bills.
And I think the visa also.
Yes.
The student visa now for a PhD, isn't it?
What happened for me while I was still trying to navigate that, I got my permanent residence. So that was now settled. Yes, so now that was settled. So I had to find ways to make this work. Like work on myself, focus on what's important, and produce, the quality work. So I then started practicing being mindful of whatever I do, mindfulness, and I'm here on campus. Why am I here? If I'm going to be a PhD graduate, what are the skills that are critical? And this I got from my coach as well as my therapist. So they put me in line and they helped me refocus in that space.
Okay.
So I learned. They pushed me. It was during, we had all these issues, load shedding. You come to campus 6 hours, you don't have power. You go back home, there's no power.
It was a difficult environment. Then in terms of thinking, now you're thinking about going to Australia. How does that look like for you?
It was still difficult because coming to Australia was another avenue that needed money, that needed commitment in terms of processing your document, assessment, doing your English. So I'd done my English before, during COVID. I think a few months before we went to Johannesburg, I'd done my English, and that was successful. And I started looking at evaluating my documents through Engineers Australia,
which is quite an expensive process. How do you fund that process?
Oh, we couldn't fund it.
How did you maneuver?
So again, my family pitched in, and my mother was like, "There's no way you can miss out on that opportunity because you need to do. So what I need you to do, I need you to go and do your part. That's what she said to me.
You say your mother said you should do your part. What is it that, what did she mean by that?
I think in short, she was trying to say, don't worry about financial constraints and all that. Why don't you focus on what you have to do, which is putting in the application, which was preparing the documents that needed to be supported for the assessment through Engineers Australia. So that meant committing to do the career episodes as per requirement, collecting all the other supporting documents if you want to verify your years of experience as well. So it's something that I could
things that you can control, basically.
Yes, and it's only me who could do that. I mean, even if she wanted, she couldn't have known where to start to write a career episode.
Yeah, sure.
So I think what she was just trying to say is, don't worry about the other things that you are not able to control at this point. Focus on that, and we'll be able to support you in other means financially.
That's quite inspiring, because you would think parents at that age, which I think PhD, having worked in Zimcam, some parents would be like, you know what, I've done my part. You can maneuver yourself through it. I've done a part. I've given education, which I think should have been justified.
Yeah, rightfully so. That's very true, because not only that, I was married, so I'm already someone else's responsibility, and she didn't have to be very honest. So her going out of her way, and it was part of realizing that dream, I think, and understanding how to get there, and also accepting that there will be challenges. The road is not going to be smooth and straightforward to getting there, but you will need that support. And probably she was realizing that there was a gap as well, because how is it that I couldn't get the other support for people to help me out, or at least groom this and see it as an opportunity for everyone to excel where I was. If that makes sense. So I think she took that responsibility on herself and to support this.
So how did your family then, go through to support you through the application process, which I think is not just your mother?
Yes, so I had a young sister. My other young sister is here. She's already a citizen of Australia. So she managed to sponsor our visa.
Oh, great. Amazing.
The provisional regional visa. And so we could use her documents to advantage the application to come here. So obviously it still needed me to
do your part.
To do my part.
Yes.
Which was ensuring that all the documentation from my side, the qualifications and the assessment through Engineers Australia go through successfully, obviously. Yes, so they all pitched in, and they were supportive, helping me through all the process steps, and that was really helpful. I think it gave hope for something to come, something different.
It's always good when you see family supporting each other, and I think that's how we sort of grow, by supporting each other. So it's really refreshing to see that kind of approach. Especially sometimes if you are a big sister, you always think I'm the one who is supposed to be supporting, to be doing these things. But I guess there are those times whereby opportunities differ and stuff like that. So that's quite interesting.
I think we have each other with my siblings and my mother. It's all that we have, and we understand the dream, and we understand the sacrifices that have come with all this. My father passed away over 20-something years ago.
When you were young, I guess.
Very young, yes. So we've seen my mother strive towards seeing this and seeing us better and have a better future. So I think they also understood that. My siblings, they understood this, that if I can't be there for you, then no one else can be, in as much we have to find a way to pull each other. And I also think that they probably were in the position where we can't support her forever.
Yeah.
So, but she's got the skills,
Yeah.
it helps as well. You have the skills, so people can easily just throw you the rope and it take you to another place than someone that you need to nurture right from the start or
from
the
the start.
Yeah. So that, I think that also made things easier.
How do you actually talk about these things with your sister, with your family, the need to support each other, or is something that happens naturally? Do you actually talk about it? Did you talk about it when you were young? And do you always talk about it, the need of supporting each other, or is just something that happens?
I'm not sure if we've spoken about it, but because we lived together, we did things together, and we didn't have the liberty to go somewhere else to ask for help. Like we don't have enough fees. We didn't go and ask auntie, uncle, for help and all this. We would find a way within the house to solve it or work it out somehow. So that's how we grew up. So I think that has carried on up to now. We know and we do understand that if someone else is in need, they probably do not have anywhere else to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, tell me then about, when you sort of get that visa and you have to travel to Australia.
So I think it took almost 2 years for the visa to Australia to come out. And that was really difficult. We lost hope, I think, in between here. The trauma of waking up at 3 a.m. because that's, I think, equivalent to 8 a.m. here, just to check that you don't have an outcome from.
So it's sort of an everyday thing.
Every day, because once it's 3 months, you start expecting a response, and then like it's any day now, and that went on for almost 2 years plus, actually. So that was difficult, and I still had to continue doing my research somehow and remain productive, is to say. And my biggest worry was the longer we wait to make a decision to go to Australia, if that opportunity does come, and we have to leave before completion of the PhD.
More advanced, like the risk becomes even more and more as
more
you
and
go
more.
towards.
So it was either having to leave the PhD at advanced stage, or even risk likely paying back the money for the scholarship for the time that I'd been there, So all these things were complications that was affecting my being there that time. So all these things that were going through my head.
Mind,
So I knew for sure that I needed to continue being productive and maximize on what I could do the time I was
that particular moment, sort of.
So that's why I needed a coach. I needed someone who will teach me the skills to reduce the distractions and focus.
To be able to focus, because always if you have a plan B, you sort of start thinking more about plan B. But if you have got this plan, whether it's plan A or plan B, but you've got this thing which is ongoing. Supervisor expects you to deliver. It doesn't know about your other stuff which is happening on the side. So
and you can't talk about it because
it's a risk. It's uncertain, and also it's a risk. Then when that visa comes, then sort of the visa is in. What
so that very month things changed. So firstly, I got selected to be the top 200 young scientists from the BRICS, amongst the BRICS nations. And a few days later, I got the visa for Australia. So it all happened within like a 2-week period. While we're celebrating and figuring out how to navigate the BRICS forum and getting into that global space, we got the visa. So there was a lot of excitement, and there was things that turned, and they were looking better and promising for us. So the decision what to do with the PhD. Do we go to Australia now? Do we leave all this? And at that time, I think I was just in the middle of writing a paper as well. So I was committed. I'd found a way that got me to a point where I was fully...
You are now loving what you're doing. Sort of.
I'd become so good. I'd attained the skills and I knew the tools, the research tools to go to. I had to learn package as well, to do bibliometrics, nice fancy things and appropriate skills and advance for a PhD candidate, So I'd invested myself in being the ultimate best PhD person, and this opportunity came at that time, and I couldn't leave.
I can imagine, because I think your love for engineering and your professionalism, how hard was that?
It was very hard, and my project was very good.
Yeah.
We're looking at sustainable development goals for clean water and life on land, so it was relevant to what is happening in the world and what everyone is looking into, looking at acid mine drainage and remediation, recovery of resources from that, using materials from, like recycled materials, alien invasive. It was coming together and in an interesting way, and it was promising to deliver quite some good results. I didn't want to leave that. I was not ready to leave, and I had not prepared myself to leave that, because I'd invested so much in terms of quality of the work that I had at the time. So then we made a decision for my husband to come here first.
To sort of find out what's really happening.
Yes, we were like, okay, maybe go, we'll stay and then we will round up things, so, just trying to buy time.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so that's how we eventually moved here. We joined him 3 months later, and we came here to Banbury.
Ah, that's good. How has it been life in Australia? Coming here and looking for a job, and all those kind of stuff.
So Banbury, Western Australia, is similar to Cape Town in some way or the other. The lifestyle, so that wasn't really difficult for us. And I think we loved it. Living next to the beach, I mean, who wouldn't love that? We came towards the end of the year, so there was a bit of a vibe, celebratory vibe around in general, I wasn't really eager to jump into a job search. I thought that I needed time to rest. But me being me,
I feel a lot has been happening.
Yes, a lot had happened, and I not had time to recoup and reflect on things and get some rest. But I think after 2 weeks we were here, I started getting curious, what's the job market like? Started going to job search applications, and I saw this one post. It was reposted 3 hours. Just said reposted 3 hours ago, and I'm like, oh, technical advisor, wastewater treatment processes. And I was looking at the description, like, that sounds like me. Let me test the waters. So I prepared my CV and I sent through the application. The following morning, my phone rings. So I'm in Australia. No one calls me.
Calling me.
I'm thinking
the line is new. It's not my sister, so who is this one?
Yes, early morning. And then I realized a few minutes later I'm actually having a telephone interview, No, we got a job, and I'm running around, going to open my laptop, a job that did what? What was the position? And try to, tap into the conversation, because at that point I wasn't so sure. I wasn't expecting that, because we come from a background where you apply and you never get responses.
And I will tell you that you got that interview very early. Some people spend a long time before they get an interview like that, especially in the engineering space, more technical. Someone will tell you that they're looking at someone with Australian experience. It's so hard to get a job, especially if you're coming from outside. But one thing it tells me about you, and it tells me about, I don't know whether I can trace your things through the miracle child, which I think you can easily trace you can easily trace the miracle child and all these breakthroughs that happen very quickly. But also you can, it's not like you rely only on miracles. Also you put the work, you put the effort. You are professional and you are competent. You are able to, compete at the highest level, which I think, my experience with you, that's what I sort of, you have felt, and every time I sort of talk to you, probably you are one of the few people that when I talk to, I learn something.
Is it?
There are not many, by the way. So I understand. I probably understand that short period of time where you managed to break through into the industry.
Yeah.
How did you feel about yourself being able to get an interview so early enough? Because you were just thinking, you know what, gonna let my husband probably just keep on doing whatever he's doing. I want to rest, and this is gonna take time. I know. I just need to sort of rest. So how did you feel getting that first interview?
I was excited because this has never happened to me before. With all the 100 applications we've put in, and the decision to eventually move because of failed attempts. So this was exciting. This was new, and this was I'd heard stories like that as well, where people have come here and they've stayed years without getting into the engineering space. And at that time, I'd actually had people offering me opportunities to work in, carer spaces and all this
and stuff like that.
and all that. So, and they told me oh, you're gonna take this job, because what you're dreaming of is not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's what. I think that's one of the things. People's stories are unique.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we tend to want to follow the group.
Yes.
Group mentality is a problem because what it does is when you come to Australia here, there's already a model drawn
of
for you.
What steps you need to take.
Exactly. And sometimes when you want to think differently, people don't understand that.
Yes.
They sort of saying, you see, you come back, you come back. So that mentality, of being independent mentally and saying, you know what, I'm going to forge my own path. I'm going to try this. I know you're saying it's hard, but I'm going to still do it, Yes. So how do you feel, about that, yourself, when you look back about that decision of saying, you know what, this is what I want to do?
I felt very proud of that moment for me, because maybe for the longest it was confirming my skills. When someone sees your CV for the first time in a very different environment, like African perspective, and then coming here, and then people can relate to your skills, and they can identify what you're capable of, and they can link you to a skill that they're after. For me, that was impressive, because I'm like, all the other people that have told me their stories, they probably presented their CVs with similar skills, one or the other. But for some reason, things didn't work out for them. So there must be something else, that is special in me, and I felt highly favored as well. And I was really excited, and I was looking forward to a different narrative from everyone else. My peer Black people and surroundings and all this. And that was also difficult to navigate, by the way, because people always every second turn try to tell you, oh no, maybe
do this, maybe do this,
and
maybe do this. This profession is much easier to accept. Leave your engineering. Engineering is hard. Do this.
Yes. And the offer for this job was also amazing. You couldn't say no. You couldn't say no. So it took away all the other worries of what will happen in the next 2 years, next 3 years, and all.
You've got that financial stability coming in and stuff like that. So, and something amazing also. You then decided that you wanted to subject yourself into a rigorous chartered engineering, kind of certification.
Excuse me.
Tell me about that.
That's
because,
another story.
Yeah, because
a big one.
Yeah, because for me, this is how I see it. Chartered engineer. I'm not sure whether that was linked to your job at that particular moment. It is nothing. It's just you wanting to push yourself a little bit harder.
So I had thought about registering as a chartered engineer when I was still in South Africa and navigating the application process through EA. So I joined and became a member of Engineers Australia, and I started attending some of those webinars that they have, and started understanding the chartered engineering process from that time. So I started doing all my continuous development learning to make up for the hours that were required for chartered. But I never imagined that it was going to come that
So
soon.
yes.
But I was already aware of what that would look like as a requirement for me. So I had already committed myself to keeping on picking those skills, because I am qualified and have a relevant experience, and I was ready to put in my application.
Which gives me, which sort of gives me, my next point. It takes me to my next point of saying that excellence, that striving to be best in what you do, striving to be, which I think for me personally, when I see you, I characterize you as someone like that. I think there are very few people who have fallen in love with engineering as we have done, and I think it's pleasing to see that you always want, we've had conversations before, and you have always, told me how important it is for you, to be good at what you're doing, to excel in what you're doing. Yeah. So tell me then about, you start working.
Oh, can I tell you about the registration?
Yeah.
So when I was just rethinking, I'd been with the company for over 6-7 months, and now I was rethinking my next step, and then the company decided to partner with Engineers Australia for a work credentialing program that facilitates registration for chartership within the organization. I get an email that I'm one of the first 300 people who are eligible for that, to go through the process and the assessment and all this. And I was like, oh my God, really?
You are new in the country.
I'm new here. People say you still need 1,000 days, before your experience is validated or recognized in some way or the other. But again, I thought, you know what? If I take this assessment early on, they'll be able to identify what weaknesses I have or what gaps I have, and I can work on that as I progress, in the next coming years. So that's what I did. I started to take a leap of faith, understanding I might have achieved a lot of those competencies. This is from my overseas experience back home in Africa, but I wasn't so sure how it would be accepted, in the Australian standards. So I then quickly committed myself, took leave even, and worked on my documentation, my evidence, and put in my application, got an interview in, and and the assessor says, I'm happy to confirm to you that you are now a chartered engineer. I'm like, wow, like your work is impressive and you've demonstrated all that. It was just, I was listening to him, and I'm like, it was the best thing that could happen for me. That recognition of your hard work.
You start connecting that hard work. Those, I think those PhD years also were not in vain. From writing and understanding, problem solving and critical thinking and stuff like that.
And working independently as well.
So
the chartership also comes with a registration, National Engineers Register for Australia, and with also, I think, you become an APEC engineer recognition through the Asian Pacific Corporation, So that was a big step, and it felt like it was easy. Of course, I'd put in the effort, but it's not what I expected. I expected that this was going to drag on and maybe take me through, oh, you don't have this, or because you're overseas, you need more of this Australian experience. But that's not what happened,
You were ready.
I was ready. So that validation for me was the best thing that I could have for my career right now.
That's amazing. I can imagine. So you have got a chartered, you are now working, tell me, it's a new environment, we always talk about few, women in STEM, engineering and stuff like that, which I would think is not different in Australia. Some people might always perceive as if developed countries is different. It's not different. It's the same. So how do you maneuver yourself, coming from outside and coming into working with diverse people, that experience, how does it look like?
So the workspace is completely different from back home.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's the way we define what professionalism is.
Yeah.
Professionalism is, in an organization, you will have a hierarchy, even of respect as well. Your boss is not your friend, kind of things. The way tasks are brought down to individuals, and how you engage in teamwork and working, all those things, it's a bit different. When you're here, everything feels like professionalism is more casual.
Yeah.
It's more, I don't know how to, what's the right word to explain it, You're calling your boss by name, your boss is joking, you're in meetings, people are just having a good time,
There's not that thing of saying, your boss's office, you don't just go there
It's out
and
of
play.
bounds.
If you are seeing your boss during lunch, you have to run away. The boss is so different. That clear hierarchical structure that we have, which actually goes back into the African culture of father, mother, kids and stuff like that. That clear hierarchical structure and separation. Yeah.
Yes. So that is still, I think I'm still struggling with that, because someone who is still older than me by age, I'm not going to relate to them in that similar way as my age mate or something like this. So I still find that I have that reservation from back home. So that was a bit different for me. And you have to, when you come here, you have to learn everything. You have to catch up with simple things as knowing the places, knowing how to get where, how to drive long distances for me, because I cover the region. So I will be like a nervous wreck for days, thinking about my program, what I need to do, how am I going to get there, and who am I going to talk to, And I think English in Australia is difficult.
It's a different kind of.
It's a different kind of.
And we are in meetings, and people have got different accents also.
You can.
Sometimes it's varied also. There's some who speak much quicker. There's some who speak.
And they use other words that are not really English words, but they're Australian
or short forms of words.
So that was difficult, because you want to belong. You think belonging is going to be smooth. But you find people have got different interests from our background completely. People talk about holidays. We've never been to holidays. We don't know what that looks like.
So that we have to do is disposable income. People have got disposable income to travel. They take and when they take their day off, you can't call them. While it's at home, someone can call you while it's at home and ask you, hey, can you help me? I want to fix 1, 2, 3. While it's here, they sort of, people have to switch off and sort of focus on their lives, and it doesn't matter, what's happening.
And the expectation of the job, I think we were result oriented, with deadlines. You work through things, you solve problems that are in there. It feels a bit relaxed, and then that's the frustration that I've had to endure mostly. Things that I think it's a quick fix. You get 1 and 2 together and we can just fix that. And here it's more of something that's procedural. You have to go through this and this and this. And sometimes it's just left like that. Yet the solution is so simple. It's just tying two strings together and get things going. So that was a real big, I think, challenge for me. And I joined a team. I'm the youngest by age and also by experience. So all my team members have been with the organization for about 20 years plus. And they're all males, or at the time at least. And so I was coming in with that, adding that variation of being a young female coming from Africa and all this, and not really relating. So I couldn't talk about issues that I'm going through, with colleagues, as in, I'm navigating settling
they might
in.
not understand.
I'm looking for a school. I'm looking for, their kids are way past, school going there. So that felt a bit lonely to an extent as well. And I think with time, I just found a way of pulling back and saying, who am I? and what can I do and what am I good in? Because there is the tendency to want to try to, like to belong, to emulate what your environment is like. And that could be draining because each and every person that you meet has got a different expectation. And so you're trying to be like and to accommodate and all this. And that could really be exhausting, So I think I got to a point where I said, I am competent, so my skills should speak for myself. Transitioning to Australian culture, it's going to take time.
Yeah,
and I accepted that. Yes, I said it's going to take time. How I speak, how I listen, and how I respond, and what I talk about, it's going to take time for me to be accepted as belonging. So I was happy with who I am. And realizing the skills that I've attained, from the culture, upbringing. You can't just bury 40 years of who you've become and fought for, and become something else that you're also still trying to understand what it is, So that was the challenge, especially the first year. And for me, I tapped into some of the engineers. So when we were coming here, there are these groups on social media. People come together with the same purpose. And so it was engineers coming together, applying to come to Australia. So we became friends eventually, and we kept in contact even now. So I'll call them. We'll call each other. Oh, what's happening on your side? Have you found a job? I found a job. Oh my God, I'm about to be fired. And someone else gets fired almost the same week. And then you ask, what's going on? And it's the same reasons, You don't fit in. You're not fitting into the group. You're not fitting into the team. Or they'll find a box that minimizes your expertise or your qualification.
They find things that you cannot measure. Things that are not objective.
But those things are frustrating because in some cases you cannot even recognize with that definition yourself. That's not even. My values don't even align with that. So that doesn't even define who I am and what I stand for. So that can't be me. But how do you then protect yourself? How do you fight for your identity in that space, So I realized everyone else was going through this. Like, we're all going through the same problem, and it wasn't any different. There are different reasons why we felt we were not quickly adapting or belonging and all this. And just knowing that for me was very comforting, It helped me then check things back. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a process and we will get there. So let's take each day at a time. And that's how I've managed to navigate the changes. And since that time, I found things have been a bit quiet. There's a bit of acceptance here.
Being yourself. I think being yourself is the best thing which you could do, because it allows you to be consistent. It allows you not to make mistakes. It allows, because consistency, people know how to deal with you. But if you are trying to change and become a chameleon every day because you are trying to be someone else, it becomes very hard. That's why, as much as we are in the culture, as much you are in a different culture, different environment, but the issue is that you can navigate by being yourself. By drawing those values that you have and adapting them. But if you just want to be an Australian overnight, then that's going to be a problem for you.
That's a problem. And for me, I think because I had gone through that difficult time trying to do my PhD. So at some point I realized I'm not going to be able to do this alone. So I tapped into all those skills, tapped into finding a therapist, like realigning myself with how things are developing, identifying what soft skills do I need to develop in this space, to keep on going and making sure that every other project or task that I have, I deliver and show competency, So the consistency to show up as you and yourself and minimizing all the other distractions, I think that's what has really propelled me to to come this far and still be in the same job and same organization and not being fired.
No, that's amazing. No, that's amazing. So yes, that's really powerful. I think I have seen people wanting to be other people, you know, and I think the authentic you, I think, is the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because in the wilderness, you know how to find your path.
Yes.
Yeah, but if you want to be someone else in the wilderness, you have to sit down and think that what that person would have done. Yeah, because you really don't know, you know. So it's really powerful, and for me, I think I strive in who I am. Like I always say, a fish will thrive in water.
Yes.
If you take it out of water, it will not thrive. So if you are a fish, just make sure that you stay in the water. The way you understand the environment and how you sort of, you know, we understand that context changes, things changes. But I think that if you maneuver through those values and principles that we have, because we have principles of respect, we have principles of integrity, we have principles of hard work. The issue is just using those same principles and then try to wire them within the system. But we still use the same values that we were brought up with. And for me, I think that's the most effective way of actually striving and being the best in what you do. Yeah. So now quite an interesting conversation. So now I want to go into what is it? What do you think Black excellency means from your own perspective?
I think Black excellency is definitely not measured by titles or the amount of money that you have. Black excellency is built on the journey, you know, the consistent journey that has built us up or building me up to be in spaces that we never ever imagined we could be, representing not only self at that point, but representing all probably the Africans out there. For me, that's Black excellency. And I'll give you an example. So I've since I came here, I've been in spaces where I'm the only Black person in the room, 100 people. And at that time, I don't identify as Vuyiswa. You know, quiet or having said something, I'm not Vuyiswa. I'm not even Zimbabwean. I'm not even South African. People will see me Black. They know this one is from Africa somewhere. You know, so it's occupying those spaces and representing.
So it's understanding that when you are here, you are representing the continent.
Yes.
You are not representing yourself. You are not representing your family. You are not representing your country.
No.
Because people out there looking at you, they don't say this is Zimbabwe. No. They say this African.
Yes.
Because your color is apparent that you are African. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, how many years you've spent wherever you've spent. You know, we are privileged that when someone looks at us, can say right away that, you know, we are African. So the responsibility is huge.
It's huge.
It's a huge responsibility and breaking the stereotype in the process.
Yes. And when that African sees you or hears about you, what they'll say is, we've made it. You know, they're not going to say, oh, that girl made it. There was a girl like this. They'll be like, oh, we've made it. So you become the hope, you know, and you're recognizing all the small steps that have built you together to become that. And that becomes a successful story for Africa, not just for your household.
That's quite impactful, because I think if we all, you know, act and behave the way with the responsibility that we have been given by the continent, I think that what we are trying to do here is global Black excellence, being able to break those stereotypes. You know, show a good African story, Black child, you know, Black woman, Black man, in terms of what we have done and what we are capable of doing, you know. And I think it's not a responsibility of one person.
No.
It's a responsibility of all of us. And I think if wherever we go in our spaces and have that in mind, you know, whatever we do, have that in mind, that we've got a very big responsibility, because we're sort of on the negative, no? You know,
Yes.
from a stereotype. And so you want to first come into the 0 one,
Yes.
and then go on the positive. So you really need. So if you are to give, you know, a message to a black boy or a black girl in the rural areas who thinks that, you know, they have got so much aspirations, they want to go to the top, what would that look like?
So I've learned this recently. Oh, it's just wisdom growing old.
Yeah.
So I know all people in Africa, most of us, we are religious to an extent.
Yeah.
So we all were created by God.
Yeah.
And we all are different, one way or the other. We've got different DNA, you know,
Yeah.
we're completely different individuals. And one thing that we then need to accept is that our journey is going to be different
Yeah.
from the next person,
Yeah.
like completely different. If you're going to serve a purpose, your story has to be completely unique. Once you start walking into a space where you are directly emulating someone else's, you know, lifestyle or journey or whatever it is, know that you're following a likely distraction.
Yeah.
People can inspire or they can take you from one point to another, but there needs to be that clear differential on your purpose and your identity. So whoever, wherever they are, whatever challenges, whatever your background is, your story or your circumstances would not define who you are.
Yeah.
It could be you are there because you're just building, like it's an opportunity to build your character to become whatever you need to serve later on in life. It never makes sense at the time of, you know, poverty. I can tell you poverty, not poverty story, but the times we've closed the doors and we didn't have Christmas food, meals and all this. But that didn't deter us, you know. We didn't know that we're going to become who we are and what we are. But now I am happy that I had an experience of a rural setup. I had, you know, fetching firewood, living in all those places without
building
water.
blocks of who you are.
It has built who I am. Because I've seen a lot of people that you tell, oh, I had this problem at work. I'm like, I would have left. Like I would have put my resignation that day and I would have left. So we have those people who are fragile and then they are not able to, you know, navigate life and excel to other levels. So those opportunities of struggle, those opportunities of what seems to be a disadvantage, it's what is building your character up. And usually it's a sign of greatness in the future. That's my experience at this point. So we should normalize and embrace our circumstances. Young people, young children, wherever they are, they must be allowed to be who they are and embrace their circumstances and build onto that, but be allowed also to dream beyond and outside that circumstance, you know. I think that's what I would say to that young person. It's not really practical. It doesn't make sense when in the situation. But remember that if you're going to be different, then your story
should be different.
It should not sound like that of your neighbors or your friends.
Yeah, quite inspiring. So, you know, what legacy would you want to leave behind?
For me, what's important is for my children to realize the sacrifice that has been made and the opportunities that have been opened for them, you know, and the lessons that we have learned, indicating that for them, they can do anything that they want, anything that they dream and they put their hand onto, they are capable of achieving that. So I don't only want that for my children, but I want everyone in my family and any other black child or black girl out there to look at my story and say, she was able, so we are. You can be a woman, you can be a mother, you can be a wife, you can be from Africa and from the poorest background, but you can make it this far and contribute in spaces that we've never been represented. That's what I want to be known for. I want to inspire my relatives because I became the first person to go to university, by the way. So I want to inspire them to explore their full abilities through their own journeys as well, but knowing that it's possible and we can.
That's interesting. So do you think that, do you worry that, sometimes we have seen that, you work so hard and to put your family at a certain stage, and instead of maybe, let's say, kids or to take the baton and move forward, they sort of go backwards? Do you sometimes worry that, that could happen after putting so much effort, and then you sort of, there's not that complementarity that happens?
I used to worry before, and I used to push them, to encourage them to take spaces, take subjects, do more, explore what else they can do within their own space, volunteer to do, task at work, at school, to develop their own social skills as well. I used to worry about them realizing what we've had to go through to give them that. But of late, my children have really surprised me, I was telling you that last week on my birthday, they got to choose what they need to gift me. And one of them was a book, and which was saying wealth is not measured by the amount of money that you have. And I'm like, why would you buy me a book like this? And it was like, because it's a reflection of who you are, you've proven through your hard work and persistence and coming this far, you're not big on monetary things, materialistic things in value and all this, but you always constantly hammering the principles of having strong characters, and you've shown that to us, and you are that reflection that someone could be wealthy, because they hear me talk about my engineering. I mentor some students, so I'm always on the phone sometimes when I'm at home, so I'm mentoring other people, and if it becomes a success story, I share it with them. So I've tried to pull them to be part of my journey as well. If I'm sad about work or I'm rethinking this, I verbalize it in such a way, and then I also tap into how I'm navigating that. I think just to make sure that they don't have a wrong perception that you just have to grow up, make money, and be whatever it is, that there's a responsibility that comes with that. But overall, it's wanting them to be well-rounded children who are safe for the community in today's world. So, yes, I don't know whether it's too early not to worry about them not taking up, but it's my prayer that they would not miss out on the opportunity to be here in Australia and do bigger things.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think as a parent, I think being able to share your journey with what you have just done now, being able to share your journey, being able to, for them to understand that journey, identify with that journey, and understand how they fit into that journey.
Yes.
I think being able to give them that perspective, to be able to influence their behaviors and how they make decisions, and even if they make bad decisions in future, but that as a parent you would have done your part.
Yes.
You have shown them the way, you have understood. And I always say, someone who knows the way, always know the way of coming back.
They'll find their way
They'll
back
find
home.
their way back home. But someone who doesn't really understand the context of things, it becomes very difficult, because they actually can't find their way home. So it's really inspiring, and thank you very much for sharing, your story with us, and taking time, to be here. Quite an inspiring story.
Thank
and
you.
We have learned a lot from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Such an honor.
Thank you. For our next segment, we are going to be looking at the Black pioneers who have made a difference in history. Today on Black Excellence in History, we celebrate Dr. Gladys West, a genius mathematician whose work made modern GPS possible. Born in rural Virginia in 1930, Dr. Gladys West grew up on a farm picking tobacco and corn. but she always believed education could change her future. She went on to earn degrees in mathematics and became one of few black women to work as a program and analyst for the US Navy. Her precise mathematical modeling of Earth's shape and satellite data became the foundation for GPS, the very technology that helps us navigate our world today. At a time, women, especially black women, were rarely seen in science. Before Google Maps, there was Gladys West, guiding the world through precision and perseverance. Thank you for watching our episode today. Like, share, and subscribe.